Hello, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. I'm your host, Sol. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. I'm Solmer, and we have a bunch of spoilers to go over from this past week from content creators and the SBE staff themselves, as well as maybe some came from some articles. There were so many, I don't remember all where they all came from necessarily, but yeah, we're going to go over that, and also we are going to start off with a couple things. One, they've redone their website, so you can see that right now on the screen. This animation that goes on at the beginning, it's really cool. I think it's a massive improvement from how when you went to the site before, it was kind of just there, and now you have this nice animation. It feels kind of engaging. I actually like it. I don't know about having it constantly repeat or whatnot, but hey, it's better than what it was. There's still some bugs and errors with using the site that I'm not, I'm sure they'll try to fix them over time, but one of the things I don't like is the card database is hidden under the FAQ section. So if you're looking for that, that's where that is. They have some changes when you go to your other stuff, and it looks like they changed the font of some of the pages or whatnot. So there's some cool changes. Go ahead and take a look. They have some better links for leaderboards is more clear now. Story stuff. You got events, obviously. So they have news over here. They move some stuff around, so you got to look, get reacquainted with it. I really like that they put the story up here. They had it there before. I don't remember if it was quite clear where it was at or if you had to drop through a menu to get to it. But they have all sorts, and they've updated some stuff on here. So deck and lore event stuff, or deck and event lore, rather, sorry. They've been adding it, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, it goes with their articles they've been releasing for Set 4 coming up. So there's a whole lot to it. I think it's just interesting to have the background. I really like it because they've built this world where things have happened, and maybe it doesn't really tie into how you play because people aren't necessarily role playing, but it's just really cool. It's something that they could turn this into, a movie series if it really takes off at some point. That would be really cool, especially because a good chunk of the lore, not all of it or anything, but a good chunk is driven by like storylines that players have participated in and helped affect how the outcome was. So really cool stuff. So that's the change with the website. And then we have my next thing is going to be, I want to plug the pre-release event for Shadows Over Solis this coming Saturday. Right now we have 37 players signed up. Plenty of room for you to join. I highly recommend. It's $5 to enter. You get a booster of Set 4 decks. That's 4. That's one of each faction. You're not going to find a better price than that. And then for every win you get in the event, I think it's 4 rounds. Make sure they didn't bump it to 5. Yeah, 4 40-minute rounds. For every win you get an additional deck. So if you get 4 wins, you get basically a booster. I don't know if they're going to give a booster for individual deck codes, and I don't know if those are going to be randomized or if they're going to know the faction before giving them. It'd be kind of cool if you did get 4 wins, though, that you get a booster, so you get one of each, instead of potentially getting multiples of one faction. But it is what it is. The set's not released yet. It's not going to be released Saturday. It's going to be released basically a week from then. I highly recommend, if you've got the time Saturday, sign up and play. It's 4 decks for $5. It's so worth it. Not to mention, you get to play with people in the community. You're going to be on Discord. You can be chatting if you want, or you don't even have to chat. You can type in chat if you want, or it's just everyone having a great time. No one has forged a deck that's going to be in this event anyway. I'm sure the SBE team has for their testing, but it's just going to be a great time. So I highly recommend everyone come out and play and get to see what Set 4 has to offer. It's going to be so wild, so many new things. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. So I can't say it enough. Sign up if you haven't. If you have, I'm looking forward to seeing you there and having a good time with whomever is in Discord. So sign up if you haven't. That's all I can say about that. Next thing is this little janky looking. I couldn't get it to work any other way. So they sent out an email, as they do from time to time. He's plugging all the Shadows Over Solis stuff. But at the bottom, they had interesting stuff that hasn't been released yet by anywhere that we knew of, that I know of, rather, until this email. So we now know the Championship Qualifier 2 is going to be March 29th. The Qualifier 3 will be April 26th, and I believe these are both Saturdays, probably the last Saturdays of each month here. And then the Gold Championship Tournament, which is where you have to have a gold or a silver deck, anyone can enter, is going to be May 24th. That's, I had to look at the calendar, that's either Memorial Day weekend or the weekend before it. I'm not sure how it falls this year. So, but it's probably Saturday, nonetheless. So it's probably Memorial Day weekend. Be my guess. So, these dates, put them on your calendar. If you don't have a gold or a silver deck, or you have a deck you want to get to that level so you can use it in the championship tournament, this is your opportunity. So these dates are out there now. I'll try to put that in my video description so it's a little more clear. You don't have to, because you may not get the emails, or you may have deleted it, may not have seen it at the bottom. I was scrolling through and just happened to catch it real quick. I was like, ooh, I need to save this and come back to it. And then my email does weird things where it makes the whole background black and you can't see any of the text. So I found a way to get it where it's not like that, but I can't get it in a nice format to look. So it is what it is. So so those are the things I want to touch up before we get to spoilers. So now we got spoilers. I've got two that I do not know at this time as of recording if they've been released yet or not. I don't even know if I have permission to release them because Lucas hasn't gotten back to me. But I'm putting them out because he let me do it last week. I assume he'll let me do it this week. So the first, let's see what I've got pulled up here. All right, this is not one. This is one that was already released. This was Fletch put this in chat, I think. So we have the abominable snowman. It's a Yeti. It's a common creature. The abominable is a rare modifier. He's got deploy. One of your creatures gets defender this turn. I'm not sure if that's... I'm guessing that's the snowman part, and the abominable is just maybe his stat lines. He might have put that in chat too. I don't recall. I'd have to search the chat for it. But he's a Yeti. He gives one of your creatures defender, which we know from other spoilers. There's some defender synergy within Tempest with the Yetis in particular. So, and then there's also, he's got great health lines here. 12, 17, 24. We do know of one of the other cards that makes them attack with their health. So there's that level of it. But however, he is susceptible to Sonic Burst in a bad way. So there is that. But he is a common creature. It'll be interesting to see what his stats are with different modifiers and how that plays. Because he's not defender himself. He can give himself defender if he wanted. But, yeah, it's just an interesting thing here. So now let's pull up one of the cards that has not been released to the best of my knowledge. If it has, then great. I'm just covering what they've already released. If it hasn't been released, then this should be new to all of you. So I'm pretty sure it is this card, Mimic Worm. So Mimic Worm here, as you can see, has the same stats across all levels 1, 2, and 3. It's a beast. It's a common. So you can see as it goes up, he's got the level 2 gets deploy, reanimate up to 1 level 1 Mimic Worm, and the level 3 is reanimate up to 1 level 2 Mimic Worm. So this is a very interesting card. It's not, I don't want to say it's too overpowering. It's going to be great for filling your board with blockers. And then depending on what kind of pump we have available for these types of creatures is definitely going to play into that. It's not like, trying to think of a scenario. So it's not like, where you got minions and then you pump the minions up or whatnot. You're going to have either something that pumps beast up or just your creatures in general, like a ferocious roar type of ability to get all of them pumped up. So, it's an interesting card. It's got a good body at level 1. And then, obviously, level 2, you can bring back the level 1. And level 3 can bring back both of them if you're in that lucky state and you got the board space or whatnot. I do know that Utera has a lot of pump in this set, it seems like. So this may be something where you can just pump your guys up. It's going to be really interesting. The level 3 is a small body. Level 2's for a level 2 is a small body. But, it's like pulling out a zombie brute minion. Getting 3 of them out there, it's like getting an Infernal Ritual level 3 without the attack buff, or getting a Runescarred Pit level 3 and filling up all your Runescarred Pits. So just a little different. There might be some mechanics with the reanimate that may be able to trigger some things. I'm not positive off the top of my head. I didn't dig in or think about it too much, but the biggest thing I think is it's a beast, so there's some beast synergy there, and it's you're gonna be able to, each time you play one, you're potentially then playing 2 or 3. Stat wise, you're getting 18-18 at level 3, 12-12 at level 2, and 6-6 at level 1. So obviously it's on or above curve at each of the levels in that regard. But splitting up 3 bodies, I'm not necessarily, depending on the deck and how you're playing it, obviously, 3 6/6s is not necessarily my favorite play if they've got a full board of stuff, unless it's all small stuff. But interesting card. It's a common, so I'm guessing we'll see this a bunch. This is going to be interesting. I do know there are some new cards that rely on having creatures adjacent to them. So there could be some synergies there that you can play off by overriding, replacing a minion, or not a minion, a creature or whatever, in adjacent to another one where you're going to trigger something else. So a lot of options here. Definitely interesting, to say the least. I think this was a card that was an original SolForge that I don't remember its stat lines, if it worked exactly the same, but I feel like it might have. Maybe not the stat lines, but at least the ability to bring out multiple. I don't recall, but this was an OG card, so pretty cool to see it here in set 4. So the next card that has not been released yet, to the best of my knowledge, again, if it hasn't, then you're seeing this for the first time. So we have Kalthor Silvercoat, and he is really cool because he kind of synergizes with the card we just saw. He has a deploy, and at level 3 and activate, that each of your beasts get +2/+2, +4/+4, and +4/+4. So you could play him after playing the Mimic Worm and give them all +2/+2 or +4/+4, or, the level 3 is an activate, so you can do it over multiple turns. Those guys become 10/10s. That's huge. So he is a rare. He's a beast warrior. He gives other beasts, not himself. But he does have that warrior, so we do know there's a lot of warrior synergy in the set in general. So he may be able to get some other benefits from other factions with the warrior stuff. And he definitely brings the beast synergy to the table there. His stats are low. It's not awful at level 1. Level 2 is a bit low, and level 3 is definitely low. So he is going to need something else to help pump him up, whether it's augments or other synergies, other abilities pumping him up, if you want him to survive a long time. But he does definitely pump the beasts up, and you're going to have to make a choice. Do you get rid of the beast that he's pumping, or do you get rid of him before he can pump them more and more? And if you can't kill him, and you can't kill the beast right away, they're just going to keep growing, and it's going to snowball into something worse. So definitely a fun-looking card. So you'll definitely want Silvercoat with the Mimic Worm and any other beasts that they have in the set. I think this card's going to be really strong because, in theory, you're going to get the Plam and Activate at least at level 3 at least once. And you're hopefully trying to do it where he's going to live. If you're off Forge, you can potentially, if they don't have a full board, you could potentially do that. So you're going to get potentially 2 activates out of him at a minimum, which, with a Mimic Worm, giving them +8/+8 over 2 turns is huge. So that could be devastating to an opponent. So, so that's the other new card. Of course, I'll post these images in the Discord after the video comes out and whatnot. So that's Calthor. Now let's go to the rest of these cards. Have been released by either a content creator or SBE staff. The ones that have images that look like this probably have been content creators, and the ones without the special background have probably just been put in like the Discord by the SBE staff. There are some in here that may have come from one of their articles. They've released a couple. So I don't remember off the top of my head everything where it necessarily came from. There's a lot to go through. So let's just dig into that. The first one we got here is Bioharvest. And this one is an Aloyan spell. And you have upgrade up to 1 card in your hand, then discard it. The level 3 is upgrade up to 1 card in your hand. You don't discard it. And then you have destroy an enemy creature with attack less than the number of level 2 or 3 cards in your discard pile. And then the level 2 is destroy up to 2 enemy creatures with attack less than the number of level 2 or 3 cards in your discard pile. And the level 3 is destroy all enemy creatures with 12 or less attack. The level 2, I don't know if it was asked or clarified when it was released. I missed. I was unavailable when they released this. I think this was at the SolForge weekly event. I think, or could have been someone else even who released it. But I don't know if anyone asked if this card. So it says destroy up to 2 enemy creatures with attack. So is it their attack combined less than that number, or is it each of them individually? That'll be a question we'll have to find out. I don't know if anyone's asked it in chat or not. I might pose the question in chat as well now that I reread it. So My guess is there's probably each of them are just less than that amount, but it would be interesting if they made it combined to make it so it's not too strong. But pretty nice. You get the upgrade, which is always nice to have the upgrade synergy, and then you get to destroy a creature with attack less than how many cards you have in your discard pile. That can be really good. So it's a fun card. The next card here is going to be Cortex Vein, and we have some special stuff with him or her or it, whatever it is. Might be a robot, a metamind, I guess. I don't know if that's a living thing or not in this world. The Cortex Vein. So it's a rare metamind scientist. So there was a lot of talk about metaminds. How they're going to synergize, and people were theory crafting about how Alolan creatures in general get stat reduction on their creatures because of their abilities on their cards. And I agreed with that sentiment in general, that Alolan seems penalized for that. Like, all the metaminds that we've gone through, or any ones that we haven't gone through that we will, when you look at them collectively as a whole, they look amazing together. But what are the odds you're going to have all of them on the board at the same time synergizing like that? Probably not. Most of the time you're going to have one or two creatures on the board. I'd be shocked if you had 5 different ones on the board at once frequently. So there's the level there. When they're all out there together, super strong, and I can understand why you'd want the stat reduction because they're going to be almost overpowered. However, getting to that point is near impossible in this game. It's really hard, and to do it consistently, I mean, if they can do it consistently, then Alolan could be one of the better factions in this set for sure. But I'm just not confident that that's going to be the case. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We don't know. It's just speculation and just how it feels. And I definitely agree that I feel like they get penalized more typically because of their abilities. So Cortex Vein has a deploy, and it's an activate at level 3. One of your creatures gets +2 attack, an enemy creature gets -2 attack. Then it's +3 and -3 and +4, -4. And that's an activate on the last one. Stats-wise, 4/4, 6/6, 8/8. Like I said, it's just initially it's just a tad below curve, but then it's even farther below curve, and it's way below curve at level 3. So, yeah, getting it off once. Yeah, I get it's an 8 attack swing on that, but it's just too much. It's I don't know. I just feel like they get penalized just a little too much. If it was a 10-10, it probably wouldn't feel as bad, honestly. But it is what it is, and that's just the sentiment that some people feel. Not everyone feels that way. Other people feel like it's completely balanced. So, or maybe they feel it's too strong. I'm not sure. But it's a rare metamind scientist, and I think it's going to be fun when you get a really good deck of all these guys together and trying to make them work and how they synergize. I mean, if you can get them all out there, there's going to be a lot of things going on. Your opponent's going to have a hard time killing your stuff off if you can get it to that board state. So, really like this card. And then everyone commented they really like the art and all the colors that are represented in here. So what we have is, I gotta find it. There we are. So I think it was Fletch who put out all the Betrayer versions and the original version, level 1s, of the card. So you can see the Betrayers and how they look. Which one do you think looks best? Someone mentioned they wish there was a yellow faction. They would like to see. I tried to see if I couldn't alter it and get the yellow on there. I can't. I'm not that crafty, so I couldn't do it. So I didn't continue on with it. It was horrible, but that'd be cool to get a yellow thing to see how it looks. But maybe there's a faction in the future that's going to be yellow. Who knows? But there's the 4 versions. Which one do you think looks best with all the art and all the colors going on? To me, they all look great. I really don't know which one I think looks best. Maybe the original or maybe Necrium for me. I'm not sure. But if you want to, go ahead and comment which one you think looks best. And we'll see if anyone can get one this weekend, or maybe when Set 4 releases, see who might get the first Betrayer Cortex Vein. So the next card is Dr. Biltabot, and that one was released by Jed, I'm pretty sure, on his stream. So it is a scientist, 3/5/5/9/9/12. It is rare. It has deploy. If this replaced a creature, play up to 1 card with augment from your hand for free. The level 2 is play up to a level 1 or 2 card with augment from your hand for free. So he takes on kind of like the Uranti Elementalist card type, where he has to replace at level 1, level 2 you just play it, and level 3 it's an activate. So this will work well with augment decks, obviously. I don't know what Uranti Elementalist stats are, the stat lines. It might be slightly better than this. I'm not positive, or it could be the same. But I think it's fairly close, though. So just an interesting... They took one, Tempest with their spells and free spells and such. Took that, adjusted it to Aloyan with augments, and it's really cool. It's a scientist, so it works well with some other synergies going on in the faction. So this could be a really good card. I don't know how many augments we're going to get in a deck. Is that going to be... Are they going to be like Exalts, where you're only going to have 2 to 3 maybe, and on the rare occasion a 4th maybe? I just don't know how it's going to work out, because they're on spells, they're on creatures, a lot of different things. I don't know. Are we going to have 6 or 7? Are they going to, you're going to have creatures, spells, and then you have to count augments separately? I just don't know how it's going to work or what to expect. It's going to be interesting to see. And this card, though, if augments can be pretty heavy in decks, this could be a really good card to have in it. So the next card was also revealed by Jed, and it is Hovercraft. I hate the art on this one, but it is what it is. It's an Aloyan spell. One of your creatures gets +4, then attach this to it. Gets +8 at level 2 and +12 at level 3. The augment portion of it is activate. This swaps lane with another one of your creatures. That's all 3 levels. So it has a similar function to the other Aloyan card. That name just escaped out of my mind. The Ebenhawk, the Hawk. I don't remember now. It was on the tip of my tongue, and then it just went away. So, but moving, it's just like Portatron. When you play him, you can swap lanes. But this is an activate on this creature, so that can be really useful. If you need to be able to move some things around. Also, swapping them counts as moving for some other abilities. When things move or whatnot, you can trigger some effects that way as well. So this could be useful. It'll be interesting to see. I know they've had, aerial assault and Aegis Wings prior in Aloyan, and those cards, Aegis Wings didn't ever seem very good, but aerial assault seemed really cool. And then when you get it in a deck and you have it, like, everything just has to line up really well for it to even just be useful. Using it and moving, to move a creature lane instead of playing a card just doesn't, like, unless it's to win the match type of thing, or get you really close to that point where you can, put him in the kill range. It just didn't. It never felt like it was a strong enough card. It wasn't the worst card to have in your deck, but at the same time, it wasn't something you're building for. At least if you're playing anything competitive. So this might have more use and better utility than those cards. It'll remain to be seen. We'll have to find out. This is a rare spell, so if I had to guess, they've tested with it and felt that instead of being common, they needed to be rare, or who knows? Maybe they just had it rare to begin with. I don't know, but interesting card. We'll be interested to see where this goes with Aloyan. The next card, Hunting Hour. I believe this one was released at SolForge as well. I was not there for it, that I recall. This is an Utera spell, common. Ready your exhausted creatures. It readies all of them. Not just one, but all of them. And you gain 2 health, 3 health, or 4 health for each of your creatures in play. So if you have a full board, yeah, I'm thinking already with all of the Aloyan Metamind guys and all their activates, using all their activates and then playing this and then getting to do it again, that would be crazy. Especially if you had a full board of all of them. You'd get a nice 20 health out of that. So, could be interesting. I can definitely see Betrayer versions of this going into some good deck pairings for like a Mantis Forge Seal set 1 deck, and you get the Mantis and the Forge Seal on the same turn and using them, and then you get to use it again. That would be interesting. Or I guess you couldn't unless you got a free spell to play it with it, but there's ways to do that too, depending on what faction you betray this in. But even so, playing a Mantis and getting to ready it, plus other, if you had anything else that needed to be readied, could be really good. So, yeah, cool, interesting spell. Again, we'll have to see how this plays out. This could definitely be interesting with what we showed earlier, like a Mimic Worm with a Calthor, where if you have the level 3 out and you ready him, he can pump those beasts twice in 1 turn. Plus, you're filling up the board with the 3 of them out there, plus him, that's 4. So that's a pretty good combination there. I could see this spell hopefully being useful. I don't know how much stuff there is activation-wise in Utera. I haven't been really tracking it. But definitely some of the other factions, you might need to pair this with one of the other factions to get a lot of more activations, depending on what Utera has. I don't know offhand. So, it's going to be one of those cards where you really want to have more than just one activation guy in your deck. So, and I don't know how they build the algorithms, but I really hope if they've got this that you need to have multiple cards with activate for it to pair up with them. Otherwise, it'll be a very disappointing spell to get with just one activation guy. I mean, the health gain's nice, but again, you got to have a full board to really take advantage of it. At least 3 of the lanes filled. So, situational. The good news is you don't have to level it up to get full use out of it other than the life. But the readying portion, which is probably the biggest portion of it that stands out to me, you can leave it level 1 and just use it when you actually need it. So you don't need to level it up to make it effective later on. So that is good. All right. So this card was spoiled by Mr. Huat on his video. We have Lycian Hydra. It's a 6/3/7/4/9/5. It has breakthrough at all 3 levels. It is a beast. It is a common creature. And it has deploy. If there are 2 creatures adjacent to this gets +2/+2, +6/+6, and +10/+10. So that really scales really high. And if he does have it, he becomes an 8/5, a 13/10, and a 19/15. So he goes above curve at all 3 levels. The level 1 is still with only 5 health. He can still be removed with ease, but he's got that breakthrough. So you can't afford to let him live more than that 1 turn if that's the case, at least early on. And then the level 2 and the level 3 are ridiculous sized, and it's already bad because they've already got obviously 2 lanes with things out there, and now they're adding this big monster in between them. So now they've got at least 3 creatures on the board, and they got one of them's really good. So I think this could be a really good card depending on the decks and how all the free and extra plays work out with creatures and things of that nature. But I definitely see this card as being really good, and it could be really important for people to properly remove things to prevent cards like this from being able to get their deployability off. So it's going to be something that's really important for people to pay attention to when they are doing removal, to pay attention to that, because there's a lot in Utera that has to deal with, one, playing creatures adjacent to others, and then playing this guy in between 2 guys adjacent, so he's got 2 creatures adjacent to him. So definitely interesting. There's also the potential for using him with things like Duplication Dome, where you might get to do an extra deployability on him. Then he's getting plus 20 if you got it to trigger properly. So then he's Kurgaya sized with breakthrough. But this guy could be very dangerous. So people just have to be aware of it when it's in the deck and just try to account for it. Not to mention the beast synergy. So if they had a Kelthor with them, that pump is going to be huge. That could be really bad, actually, if you got him with Kelthor and the two creatures adjacent to it when you played him. Yeah, he can get huge and be a problem, really bad problem, quick and just really quick. So, really interesting card. I like it. We'll see how it actually plays out with the set as we go. So, the next card, Master and Machine. And this card, I don't remember when or who. It might have been SolForge again. But this one is an Alloying spell, common. Play a Gizmo minion. At level 3, it's play a Mega Gizmo minion. And then it says, give the next creature you play this turn +2/+2, +4/+4, +6/+6. So I feel like this was a Forgeborn ability for maybe Crux or something similar. I don't remember the name of the ability offhand. But basically, you're playing a Gizmo and giving the next creature a huge buff. So you kind of get a Bartok ability on it, even if they destroy your Gizmo. But you also line up to have them get this buff plus the Gizmo buff, which can be huge on a creature depending on the state of things. So I like it. I think it's a good ability. I like how it's built. It's on its own. It's not overpowering, but obviously combined with other things, it could be nuts. So I think it looks like a well-balanced card, but that's just my opinion. All right, next card is Reliable Strategist, and this one was released in the spoiler chat, and I don't remember the reason why, or if it was just one of the ones dropped, but it's a rare, and it's a warrior, and you can see deploy each adjacent creature gets +4, +6, +10 attack. So again, this one's a Loyan, however, where you want to play it between 2 guys, and you're going to give other creatures a boost in attack, which can be helpful, obviously, especially with some of the meta-mind creatures that are reducing your opponent's attack. They don't necessarily have a ton of attack themselves, although they do have some that can pump them, but this guy can also really buff them up and help them remove threats from the board while them living themselves because they've reduced the attack of their opposing creature. So you can see his stats 4/4, 5/7, 8/9, below curve at each level, really below curve at level 3, but again, it's accounting for him giving 20 attack at level 3 to 10 to 2 other creatures. I don't know. Like, it could be nice, but I'd almost rather have +5/+5. I think that'd be better. But he is what he is. Then we have Soul Scourge Grimgaunt. I think this was in an article, if I'm not mistaken. So you can see this one, 5/5, 7/7, 10/10. It's a common creature. It's a spirit warrior. Its stats aren't horrible, but they are below curve. It has deploy. This gets +2/+2 for each creature that was destroyed this turn. Then it's +3/+3 and +4/+4. So it makes up for it if creatures were destroyed. And it doesn't matter if it was yours or your opponent's. So this could go to decks that are trying to wipe boards with whatever means they have. That this guy could come out afterwards and be a really big body. You know, if you can get a good Firestorm off and kill off 4 or 5 guys at level 3, this guy's coming out huge. So definitely an interesting card. I don't know how much there is for self-sacrifice in Necreum in this set. I do know obviously some other sets have some really good stuff for that. So be interesting to get a Betrayer one of this to pair with one of those for sure if this set doesn't have a lot of its own self-sacrifice. We'll have to see. So again, this is a card. Just kind of have to wait and see what the set ends up being, what the faction ends up being, and how you can take advantage of that, or does this need to be paired with a different set where you can self-sacrifice to really get him going, build him up, just as one option. But interesting card. Definitely better if creatures have been destroyed when you play him. If you even just doing one at 1 and 3, get him, 2 or above curve, and level 2 needs 2. Or no, just needs 1. So they just need 1 creature destroyed to put them back on curve, essentially. So, all right. This next one, I don't remember who did this one. But Cyrith Everwatch, 2/6, 4/8, 6/10. It's Defender. It's a creature warrior. It is common. It has Activate. Attach this to one of your creatures. It gets its printed stats at each level, and Augment, it gives it Defender. So this can be good as a chump blocker where it's going to live, and then you could potentially the next turn activate it, kind of sacrifice it to give to another creature, although it's going to give them Defender. Although, depending on your deck, that could be a strategy you want. So, definitely interesting card. It does have warrior synergy, so it could potentially get some buffs or extra benefits from that. But it's definitely a nice card to, like I said, chump block with, where it's going to live, and then your next turn you're able to basically sacrifice it to another creature to pump them up, furthering your blocking ability. So as long as you're not crossing a stealth creature, of course. So just an interesting augment creature. I don't think it's anything out of this world. It is just a common, so you'll probably see this a bunch, but it could definitely be useful. Just thinking about that. Okay, so this was shared in the spoiler chat. Temperamental Frostbearer. It is a Yeti mage. The Frostbearer is rare. The temperamental is common modifier. This is a defender with an activate. Another one of your creatures in the back row blasts for 2, 3, or 5. So we talked about Yetis a bunch already, where they have a lot of defender synergy. So this shouldn't be too hard with a Yeti deck to have go off. It is an activate, so you can use it multiple times. His stats are pretty beefy for a defender. Normally you would see lower attack, higher health, but he's just got the attack going for him. At least he's not. Sonic Burst is not going to take him out initially. So there is that for a change, because all the other Yetis have low enough attack they can get crushed by Sonic Burst or suppressing. So not much to say about him. Obviously, there are some Yeti stuff. You can get rid of Defender, so they can, he could become an attacker, and he's got good stats for that. So then we have another of these temperamental trackers, or tracker. This is the Nutera Beast Warrior. The tracker is a rare creature. The temperamental, as I said before, is a common modifier. Like I said, this is a Beast Warrior, so got 2 good creature types with it. It's a 5/3, 6/4, 10/5. So leaves a lot to be desired on the health side. However, when you play this, deploy on level 2, it starts with anyway. Play up to 1 level 1 creature for free. And the level 3 version is play up to 1 level 1 or 2 creature for free. So they come out with another creature that you have in your hand that's under-leveled. That can be useful in a lot of ways. So very interesting creature. Some people will love that. That could be really interesting with like a Mimic Worm. You can still get the tracker in the level 2 and the level 1, or something of that nature, or just different other creatures in your hand that are under level that you want to play. So can be a good card, certainly. Leaves a lot to be desired with the health, though. It's a very easy target to pick off. Then we have Titanium Null. I think this was also in the article. So this is another Metamind Scientist. It's a 6/3, 8/5, 12/6. It's a common creature. Has deploy. If this replaced a creature, choose one. One of your creatures gets +4, or an enemy creature gets -4. It's 6 and 6 and 10 and 10 at level 3 or 2 and 3. It's attack. So it's kind of okay. I don't know. You're using that ability. If you use it on the enemy creature, you're playing it across from something. You're hoping that you're making it so it doesn't kill your guy, and that your guy has enough attack to kill theirs. I just don't know that that's the case. I feel like he's penalized too much for that ability. And it hurts because it's his health. Like, if he had lower attack, then you could be incentivized to give him the attack. But his health being so low, you almost, unless you have a way to get him aggressive, you're off forge, you have an open lane, and you can pop him through, like, great, but that's not something that's happening every game. So I don't like how the Eloian creatures are constantly penalized for their abilities. I'd rather them get better stats and have weaker abilities, honestly. I think it'd help them be better. But he's just weak across the board, so you're using him to kill off something, in theory. But you have to use one of his abilities potentially to keep him alive. So really, you're not getting much out of the ability other than you potentially got to kill something. And if he can't kill it, but it's going to take him 2 turns, I don't know. It just, I'm not a big fan of the design space here. But like I said, with all of the metaminds, the scientists, multiple of them out there at once, you could potentially do some amazing things. But we'll see. We'll have to see how it plays out. The next card was recently spoiled by Nathus. This is the 3rd new Forgeborn in the set. This is Utera. This brings all 3 factions to 9, or all 4 factions to 3 Forgeborns each. So now we have 12 Forgeborns. We had 9. We added 3. Not counting blighted Forgeborns that were in set 3. Each faction had one of those, but didn't really count them as different right now. But so his abilities: Crushing Strength. When you play a creature this turn, it gets +3, +6, +10 health. That's huge. Fierce Fortitude. At the end of this turn, each of your creatures gets +3, +3, +4, +4, and +7, +7. So that's, you have to wait for it till the end of the turn, so your guys have to survive. But depending on the board state, you might be able to pull that off and then get that big buff on all of them. That's a huge buff in my opinion. That's really nice. You have Territorial King. Give one of your creatures +2/+2. You may have it battle an enemy creature. It's +3/+3, and then +4/+4. I like it on a certain level. We'll have to see how the cards play out and if you're wanting to do that a bunch or not. Obviously, Utera Charger is one of the best cards in this Utera faction. It's a card nobody is sad to see in their deck. So this kind of gives you, an on-demand version of that to be able to battle a creature, and you pump your guy, so potentially making your guy be able to live and wiping something of theirs off the board. So really cool. And then Predatory Instinct. One of your creatures gets +2/+2. If it is opposed, it gets +2/+2 more. It's 4/4 and 6/6 at the next 2 levels. I think this Forgeborn, currently of the 12, is the next great Forgeborn. I like all of his abilities. I don't think any of them suck. And I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so I think you've got, obviously, Cersei's one of the best Forgeborns. Quark and Sunder are good Forgeborns. Steel Rosetta for Aloyan is a good Forgeborn. Oros is a good Forgeborn for Utera. And now you're going to add Tyron into that list of good Forgeborns. That gives us 6 good Forgeborns, and you've got 6 less than good Forgeborns. And based on some of the data I've been pulling from events and things of that nature, that trends with how people play with them and whatnot. So, but I think this doesn't have a bad ability. So no matter, obviously you want things in maybe certain orders, but even if you get them out of order, it's not the end of the world. So it's like having the perfect Cersei with the 3 abilities. You want them in a certain order, but sometimes if 2 of them are flipped, it's not the end of the world. Yes, there are orders where it's like, I don't care for that at all. But again, for this, it's going to be far and few between. I think all these abilities are great. The other 2, the Toxis Mori had maybe 3 out of 4 were good, and Tundra, I didn't really like his abilities. There was a couple that was maybe, we'll see. and then there's a couple that's like definitely don't care for. So will definitely be interesting to see how that works out. That's Tyron. And then we have Vector Lure, and this one is another Alolan Metamind Scientist. It's a common. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, 12. So underwhelming at the first 2 levels. Level 3 is just slightly under mark. It's got mobility 1 across all 3 levels. And then when an enemy creature enters this lane, it gets -3 attack, -4, -5 attack. So that is nice if there's no creature in the lane to begin with. Although he can move, so he could really be played. They come to kill him, and you move them over, and now they've got to play something else, and it's going to lose 5 attack too. So I like the card, the ability. I feel like the level 1 and 2 stats are a little low, but I understand at the same time, like, you're going to need an 11 attack creature to kill him at level 2. You're going to need a 7 attack creature at level 1. So I get it to an extent, but they could have given him more attack and less health, maybe. At least at the level 2. The level 3 is, the level 1 rather, is really weak. But yeah, we'll see how this kind of card plays out in the game. It's going to be a wild time when everyone starts getting cards and putting stuff together. We're not going to know all the cards by heart or know what everything does. It's going to be a lot of reading and be like, how do I deal with this? You don't know how to deal with it the first time through, so a card like this could be really powerful early on until people learn how to handle him and deal with him, whether it's you just have to remove him with removal, or how do you what can you do with him? So, interesting card for sure. All right. Next card, Verdant Watch. We have it's a common Spirit Warrior in Utera. It's a 4/4, 6/6, 8/8, and it has Breakthrough at all 3 levels. It has Activate. Attach this to one of your creatures. It gets 4/4, 6/6, 8/8, and the Augment gives it Breakthrough, whatever creature you attach it to, Breakthrough, which is awesome. So I really love this card. On its own, you're playing it. It can be decent. It's not, too strong at each level. It's under leveled for stats, but it is Breakthrough. So if you do pump it for some reason, it's a threat on its own. If potentially they were going to get rid of it, you can suddenly move it to another creature and give something else Breakthrough plus a pump and health, or attack and health rather, just stats wise. So I really like the flexibility this has. If they're not going to kill it all the way off, they might not want to go for it at all, because you can, if they're not going to, then the next turn you can just sack them to attach them to something else and pump something else up. So I really like it. I like it with the Breakthrough Augment portion there. I think this is a really good card, and it's a common, so people should see plenty of this. And it's got Warrior and Spirit, so it does have some synergies that might help it out as well. Okay. Riven Varos, I think, was in the Discord. Someone was maybe complaining about Alolan or something in one of the discussions about Alolan, and this got posted up. So it is a rare mage for Alolan. 2/8, 4/12, 7/18. So good health stats at all 3 levels. Low attack, but you're getting all that health. It is a defender with mobility 1 at all 3 levels. The enemy player can't play level 1 cards from their banish pile or discard pile. At level 2, it's 1 or 2s, and at level 3, can't play any cards. However, if I'm not mistaken, in the discussion, they asked about augments, and augments they're not played, they are attached. So I guess they fall under a different set of rules. So they can do augments, but they can't pull creatures back out or, well, basically just creatures back out. So that can really hurt some play lines for some older sets. So and I think the other question about this one was, so this stops somebody from using AC4, but does not stop them from using AC3 because the card goes to their hand first and then they're playing it from their hand. So trying to think if there's anything else about this. I can't recall, but it's a defender with mobility and great health, so he's not going to be easy to remove. You can move him to dodge blocking things if you need to, or taking less damage to keep him on the board. This can definitely disrupt players playing. If your style of deck relies on this and he's on the board, it's trouble. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out. What card did I miss here? Okay, let me find it right here. The last card was also posted in the Discord recently. Necrium, Vampire Spirit, the Stoic Phantasm. The Phantasm is a rare creature. Stoic is a common modifier. It's a 4/6, 7/9, 10/13. So stats aren't horrible on it. Deploy. Another one of your level 1 creatures gets stealth this turn. Deploy on level 2 is level 1 or 2 creatures, and the level 3 is another one of your creatures gets stealth. So this creature itself doesn't have stealth, but gives something else stealth, which can be really useful against these defenders that we've been seeing a lot of. A lot of defenders in this set. So it'd be very interesting to see how that plays out. It is a Vampire Spirit, so Spirit potential synergy. Vampire, I'm not aware of vampire themes, but maybe for down the road there might be something. Who knows? So just another interesting card. And that is all of the spoilers that I got for now. There are some others I'm working on. I'll have a video for next week if I can get it all together in time. It'll cover all the Forgeborns. And then I'll see this week there should be another article coming out and more spoilers by content creators. When those are scheduled to come out, I do not know. The articles typically come out Tuesday, so it may be out now. It may be delayed because I know they had an event this past weekend, and normally Monday is their travel day back from that type of stuff. So we'll see how the thing plays out this week. Do remember, this coming Saturday, the pre-release event for Set 4, Shadows Over Solis. If you haven't signed up, I highly recommend it. It's going to be a good time, and you get a booster of Set 4 for $5. Can't beat it. Plus, you get free decks for each win that you get. So come hang out, play with us. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care, and see you guys around.
This has been an episode of Rallying the Forge. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.